leadership and how to lead an organization. David and I, when we've been around the country and we've started training in different areas, one of the things that we found is there's a real vacuum for leadership within the company. The company's doing everything that they can do. Would you guys agree? They have this big old bullseye for us to be successful. We've got millions of products. They're doing their job. But what we found across the country is that unfranchised owners aren't really doing their job. And when we've really been talking to people, we found that they have more of a customer type mentality than an unfranchised owner mentality. And what I mean by that is, when we go to school, we're really taught to be more of an employee than we're taught to be an owner. Would you guys agree? So we're taught that what employees do, we solve our own problems, we do our own things, but we don't really take responsibility for what other people are doing. Would you guys agree with that? We know that we have to be at work at 10, we get off at 5, and you kind of live life in this kind of employee type mentality. I want to cover, in being a leader with Market America, how to help others from going from being an employee or a customer to being an unfranchised owner with Market America and really becoming a professional in what they're doing. So let's talk about what is the difference between a customer and an owner. If we could, as a group, if you guys could just think about it, what would be the difference between a customer and an owner? Can you guys tell me? Customer versus owner.
Owner takes responsibility.
Okay, owner takes responsibility. And what does responsibility look like? You guys can do this as a group. What would be responsibility as an owner? Employees. What else? Financials. What else? Customer satisfaction. Educating systems. Okay. What would a customer do? They buy. Okay. They are consumers. Okay. So we got, I like that one, consumer. Now what would that be versus what with owner? Provider? How about creator? A consumer versus a creator. Would you say an owner creates? They create jobs. They create opportunities, right? Where a customer is a consumer. What else? Anything else? Monique?
The consumer would, I guess, support your business, and as an owner, you would create your business.
Yeah.
So you would actually be the one to make your business, and they're going to support your business.
Yes, so support versus create, or what else would you guys say for that? Support, build, supply and demand. Yep. What else? Solutions? Yes. So an owner is going to create solutions, and what does the customer do? They bring the problems. That is very good, Ryan. Good job. That would be true. Marketing. Okay, that would be for the owner. What's the customer doing?
Sharing.
Researching. Yeah. Yeah.
As the interest.
Yeah.
Creates interest.
Creates interest. The owner does, or the customer does. Yes. Yeah. So looking at this, let's just look at Market America, and you guys have heard me say it so many times. The person that solves the most problems makes the most money. Would you guys agree? So business owners are going to be people that solve problems. And so let's talk about practically what does that look like in Market America as an unfranchised owner, as a leader of your organization. How do you help grow your organization to be leaders? Well, let's say that somebody calls you with a problem. Let's say that there's a problem that they're dealing with and they call you with a problem. If I solve that problem for them, what's going to happen for me? I'm going to make more money, but did I do anything for this person? No, I didn't help them at all. I actually treated them like an employee. Would you guys agree? But if they're an unfranchised owner, I need to help them to learn, to grow, to become an unfranchised owner. So let's say that Amy calls me with a situation. She's like, hey, Stacy, this is what I'm dealing with. You know, what do I do about this problem? As a leader, as an owner, to help Amy become an owner, I'm going to say, hey, Amy, that is a really great question. Let's do this. Let's hang up the phone. You write 10 possible solutions for this problem, and then give me a call back. And then we'll discuss it and come up with the best answer. Do you know, and when I do that, how many times I get calls back? Rarely ever. Because what happens is Amy gets off the phone and she figures it out, right? I'm teaching her how to become an owner. With our children, it's a lot like parents. How many people in here are parents? How many people in here have parents? Okay, so as a parent, you want to teach your children how to tie their own shoes versus always tying their shoe for them. Would you guys agree? At first, it can be kind of a headache because you're like constantly, okay, this is how you do it, But after a while, they know how to tie their own shoe. The same thing happens in the business. And we really realized that this was a kind of a vacuum of leadership in the company when we were kind of hearing stories around the country that were really customer ways of handling problems. For example, there was somebody that was taking thermochrome. They were an unfranchised owner. They were taking thermochrome, and when they got down to the bottom of the thermochrome, they ended up calling, complaining, because they said, the company shorted me thermochrome pills. We're like, well, how do you know that? They said, well, we take 2 pills a day, and we got down to the bottom of the bottle, and there's only 1 left. And we said, how do you know they didn't give you an extra? It's not like they counted it out or something. Would you guys agree that that is a customer, not an unfranchised owner?
Right.
Because an owner is like, how can I solve this problem? What can I do? But a customer's like, I've got a problem, you need to solve it for me. Does that make sense? So really start looking at the way that you are dealing with problems. Be asking yourself, am I acting like a customer or an employee, or am I acting like an owner? And then from there, as you're working with your organization, then it comes to how can I help my organization go from being customers to being owners? Does that make sense? And so in that process of solving problems and growing, I want to talk to you about what we call a ladder of leadership. Hopefully this erases. Yes, yay. Okay, so let's talk about ladder of leadership and what that looks like in Market America. You guys are going to see my incredible drawing skills here. This is a ladder. Are you impressed? Okay, so we have coordinator, which would be the first rung of the ladder. We have executive coordinator, which is the next rung of the ladder. And we have master coordinator, which moves up from there. And obviously it goes up and up and up. You get director, so you get to Elizabeth Weber and Joy and She, right? Okay, so we call this the ladder of leadership. Now this is a little bit advanced, just so you guys know. So I'm really treating you guys as leaders of organizations, and how do you grow your organization? So let me ask you a question. Obviously we've got the weekly checklist and all of that, but there's 3 things as an unfranchised owner that you're supposed to be doing. Do you guys know what those 3 things are? What is it? Yeah, that's part of the weekly checklist, but I'm talking about what we call result-producing activities. Have you guys heard those terms before? Result-producing activities. They're also known as RPAs from Market America, all of our acronyms, right? You come into Market America, it's a completely different world, right? We call them RPAs, result-producing activities. Do you guys know what those 3 result-producing activities are?
Sell the product.
Okay, so RPAs.
Sell the products, sell the opportunity.
Yep, so we got sell the products,
Show the plan.
sell the plan.
Follow up.
Nope.
Nope.
One more.
Make court. Sell tickets.
Sell tickets.
That's it.
Those are the 3 RPAs with Market America. Now, we do our weekly checklist that automatically helps us to hit the 3 RPAs. But obviously you're reading and you're listening to audio because that's how you're learning how to do these things. Does that make sense? But you have to have those things to do it. So this is a basic building block of all Market America. We call them result-producing activities. You're selling the products, you're selling the plan, and you're selling tickets. Does that make sense to everyone? So by doing that process, you will automatically become a coordinator in Market America. Now, coordinator is by far the most difficult pin level there is in all of Market America. Truly. Earning your very first knowledge. How many people in here are at least coordinators? Raise your hand. Look around the room. Give them a hand. That's a huge That is the hardest pin level. That's the hardest check you're ever going to earn. Because you go from knowing nothing to developing 2 sales organizations to hit 1,200 on your left and 1,200 on your right. But you do that by doing these 3 things, result-producing activities. The way that you become a coordinator is you're doing these things on a weekly basis. Now, would you guys agree, if you become a coordinator, you give it enough time, what are you going to become? Executive coordinator. Because you're doing these things, and you're helping other people do those things, you're naturally going to become an executive coordinator because you already have business growing on your left, business going on your right. Does that make sense? So once you become a coordinator, you're doing these 3 things, but at the same time, you are creating more coordinators. That's your job. So you're doing result-producing activities and creating coordinators. So then you move up the ladder to executive coordinator. What do you think your job is as an executive coordinator? What are you supposed to be doing on a weekly basis? Okay, so you're doing RPAs, and what are you creating? More. What do you guys think? Okay, I hear some people say coordinators. I hear some people say executive coordinators. Let's go by a show of hands, and both is off the table, just so you guys know. That's not even on the table. It's one or the other. So how many of you guys think it's creating more coordinators? Raise your hand. Raise it up high so we can see it. How many of you guys think it's creating more executive coordinators? It's creating more coordinators. Here's why. Because watch this. If you're creating more coordinators, they're going to naturally become executive coordinators. But again, the hardest level that there is in the business is coordinator level. And so when you're out there working, I'm doing the RPAs, I'm selling product, selling the business, selling tickets, I'm creating more coordinators. So I'm down at the bottom. Now I'm an executive coordinator. I'm down at the bottom working. I'm selling tickets, showing the business, selling product, and creating more coordinators. Does that make sense to everyone? So then, through this process, what's naturally going to happen for me in this ladder? I'm going to naturally go up the ladder to master coordinator. And as a master coordinator, what am I doing? What am I doing? What else am I doing? I'm doing the 3 RPAs, and I'm doing what? Creating coordinators. If you guys can imagine this business like a tube of toothpaste. So you got this tube of toothpaste, and you got this activity level that's going on, and as it goes, I'm doing RPAs, I'm creating coordinators. I'm doing the RPAs, I'm creating coordinators. I'm an executive coordinator. I'm doing the RPAs, I'm creating coordinators. It's going to naturally squirt me at the top to be a master coordinator. You can't help it. Does that make sense? If I'm down at the bottom working. If I am a director in this company, what am I doing? And what else? I'm doing the 3 RPAs, and I'm creating coordinators. Because here's the deal. I don't know that Nick is going to be a supervising coordinator. He doesn't come with a shirt that says, I'm the next supervising coordinator. I don't know who's going to be that. But what happens is, I help develop him to be a coordinator. He gets some success. He's got 2 sales organizations growing. He starts spitting out the top of that toothpaste. He's going to naturally rise to the top. Does that make sense? I don't know who's going to be the next director in Market America, but I can do this. I can do these 3 RPAs and create coordinators. 3 RPAs, this is how simple the business is. Sometimes we think we start making more money and we got to do so much more. You don't. you keep doing these things on a weekly basis, and then this happens. Now watch this. This is advanced. Are you guys ready for advanced? Okay. Yeah, sure. Okay, so here, this is, okay, Nick, this is going to be really big that you get this, okay? All right, so as you're growing, once you reach the executive coordinator level, the master coordinator level, and you're growing, as you are a master coordinator, I'm doing these things, creating coordinators. At the same time, I'm casting vision for my executive coordinators to become master coordinators. I'm casting vision for my coordinators to become executive coordinators. Does that make sense? I'm casting vision, even down to the point where I may be looking at Tanya's volume and I'm seeing that she's almost an executive coordinator. And so in that process, I'm like, Tanya, you're only 600 business volume away from earning a $600 check. What can we do to help you in this process? We could do a wellness 101. We could go show the business plan for you. Does that make sense? Do the same thing. Amy's looking at becoming a master coordinator. So you're looking at reports. Okay, Amy, how close is Wendy? What's going on here? You know, and so you're going through the reports, helping them to cast vision for the next step in the ladder. But you can only cast vision to where you are. Does that make sense? So if you are a supervising coordinator, you're casting vision for your organization. The professional coordinators to now become supervising for all of the levels below to go up to the next one. But you can't, but he's not a director yet. He can't cast vision for a director because he's not a director. But what he can do is he can say, hey, let's take Tom and Brandy out to dinner and get some of his group together. Hey, Tom and Brandy, tell us what it's like to be executive director. What does that look like? What's it look like to get that check in 1 week? What's it look like to get $6,300 in a week? What's it look like to get $8,400 a week? Tell us what that looks like. You know, and they're casting vision because that's where they are. Does that make sense? That's why it's important that when you attend events, that you're getting to know the speaker, you're getting a picture taken with them, that you're using that because it's helping you to cast vision for yourself for the future. Does that make sense? And so these little steps in creating leadership are critical for building your business. But sometimes we think the business gets more difficult. Do you guys remember typewriters? Okay, so how's a typewriter work? You're type, and you get to the end, and what do? Ding! Type, ding! Type, ding! That is what your career in Market America is like. I am not kidding. Different faces in front of you, everything's the same. You're doing the 3 RPAs, creating coordinators. Ding! 3 RPAs, creating coordinators. Ding! That is how simple the business is. Here's the question I want to ask you. Would you all agree that you could do these things?
Yes.
Everybody coming across could do these things, right? How about the weekly checklist? Could you do the weekly checklist?
Yes.
Could you get a 40 on that weekly checklist every week? You could, right? It's really like you've got a box of toothpicks right here, and you're moving these toothpicks in this box to this empty box over here. It's that simple. That's how easy that weekly checklist is. Move this toothpick from here to here. Toothpick from here to here. Because let me ask you a question. That weekly checklist that we work every single week, if I was to say to you, you need to do these 8 steps, working 10 hours a week, and if you do that, I will pay you $2,100 a week every time that you do that. How many of you guys in here would do that? Raise your hand. Every person in here would do it, right? You could do it. You would find a way. You would take a homeless person out and give him a steak at Waffle House and show him the business plan. Right? Nothing would get in your way of getting that done. Would you guys agree? But then what happens in corporate jobs? You know, somebody's got a territory, they develop a territory for a company, and then what does that company a lot of times do? They lay them off and put somebody in that position they're going to pay less to, right? So let me ask you a question. What if I told you that you're going to do this for 2 to 3 years, and I would pay you $2,100 a week every time that you did that for 2 to 3 years, but after 2 to 3 years, I would get rid of you and hire somebody else. Would you still do it? I bet you would. 10 hours a week? In 2 to 3 years, doing something 10 hours a week, these 8 steps? How many of you guys would probably do it? Yeah, be honest, right? Okay, so let me ask you a question. If you would do it for me, knowing that at some point I'm going to lay you off, why don't you do it for yourself, knowing that you would have residual income for the rest of your life? So ask yourself, when you've been through 12 weeks of Leadership Academy, ask yourself, why am I not moving this toothpick from this box to this box? Because I can do it. Why am I not doing it on a weekly basis? I think a lot of times it comes down to belief. Would you guys agree?
Yeah.
If you really believed that you would make the $2,100 a week residual income for the rest of your life, nothing would stop you. You would make those calls. The company is paying us. They're doing it. The question is, will you work for yourself? But you have to go from what I showed earlier, the customer mentality to the owner mentality.
Yeah.
When you do that, you are on your way to making this thing happen, and nobody can stop you. But take the time and figure that out. Why am I not doing that on a weekly basis? Go back to your goals, dig in, and make it happen.